All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Peace Dealer, Moon in Pisces, Sun in Leo. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We are transforming this journey and ship. I want you to tap into the instinctual projections at just the expression of your energy. This is a telltale sign of victory when people, especially past the Moon in Capricorn transit, are unable to accept that there's nothing that they can do to stop you. Like, there's nothing they can do to stop your development and growth. This is based on them trying everything they can to undermine you indirectly, duplicitously behind your back and in front of your face, and them realizing that what makes them weak isn't some kind of opinion, but their practical results of their attempts to try and sabotage your efforts and failing miserably. Many of you have, through this full moon, gained so much more insight that your biggest mistake was ever doubting that, you, by your own merit and your connections, are protected, and that opposition against you had any chance of thwarting what you do. Don't get it twisted. There was the looming appearance of a threat. Many of you have had to, especially over the years, deal with the appearance, in the sense of people who utilize manipulation and deception, since they have no real power or strength of their own, because they're WLBs, weak little bitches. They have to enforce this sense of deception. They have to put on masks. They have to hide behind this sense of peer pressure, which is all an illusion, in order to give you the impression that they in any way have any power or authority over you. And many of you, more than ever, have been, by standing in the embodiment of who you are, in authenticity, that, contrasts or clashes with said false narratives and perspectives. This is, in a way, without having to picket or riot, you insert yourself in this revolution. This is how you may inadvertently become a target, with you not having the intention to offend anyone, and just your authenticity offends those who live a lie. So this is a crucial breakthrough point. Pisces is 8th house of Leo. 8th house is other people's resources, trust, taxes. You could even say death, little deaths, transformations. And you're dealing with just pitiful hurt people who hurt people. 8th house is also dealings with other people. And so given that Leo's 2nd house of Virgo values critical perspectives, values realness and kindness, values improvement and mastery, the moon in Virgo transit we have had is completing everything you've manifested practically in order to transform the beliefs around what's possible because of what you have already expressed, proven, and shown. This is where you're taking the receipts you've had and you're showing it to people in the form of people, once again, desperately struggling to accept the fact that there's nothing they can do to stop you. So you're going to see in the way people respond and react to you, maybe you may not have realized how intense it is for these forces that they can affect you in this way. And the reason why I'm speaking more about other people is, as the moon transits the 7th to the 10th, our focus is towards outside, external, other people, because the first part of this was to, of course, build up our individuality. And so it's a really amazing feeling. You want to sit in this feeling. Moon in Pisces is disassociating your mind, your body, and soul with the critical nature and aspect of your mind that analyzes and gets stuck in reality, with your ability to actually blend in metaphysically or blend in with the metaphysical, which isn't anything that's gonna make sense. It's a vibe you're gonna feel. It's non-linear. And as the moon goes over Neptune, this is gonna help you understand more of how to not just integrate, but transform fully into a whole new way to believe what and how to harness energy in ways that induce imagination to make the impossible possible. But let's go back to these weak little bitches and how they never will have any shit on you or anything on you. This isn't necessarily to be petty and just to make fun of anything. This is a real vibrational dynamic that moon and Pisces will make you very sensitive towards. People who've put on this mask, people who've put on this fake show of I'm more important than you, I'm better than you. Without you having to devolve yourself into those petty squabbles, your vibration alone has shown that was just a fantasy in their head. They want you to miss, but that's a wish. They want you to miss, but that's a wish. Like, think about that. Okay? So you're going to see more chinks in this armor, and you're going to see more how just the strength of your own authenticity and integrity helps you win battles that you don't even have to be present for. That was a bar. Okay? That being said, this also goes into tenets and tactics of demon slaying and exorcisms that could be done as simply as just a conversation or just maintaining integrity. So as the moon in Pisces reveals more secrets about the true nature and vibe of who people are, even if they mean well and in their passion they think they're doing good, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, so they could just be being used by someone else's rhetoric. Things that will help you break through illusions, especially in society, that are used to solely distract you. When you see these people who rile up so many with these talking points about what men think about women and women think about men and women think about women and men think about men, none of that shit is true. Like, you're realizing that with your own life experience. It's all a myth. Yeah, there's truth to these experiences, but they're not conclusive. It doesn't give you the full story. You're getting ready more than ever to transform out of these false narratives and social normative experiences, while also dealing with said projections from weak little bitches, people who are just expressly intimidated by the truth that you express, which exposes the lies that they've always lived. This is a huge victory. Once the moon goes into Aries, this perspective that you're transforming will give you the direction of how to express the highest understanding of who you are. You're going to see it clearly. It's huge. Monday and Tuesday is going to be literally lit. Probably one of the most passionate days here. So this moon in Pisces really helps you release. And it also transforms your understanding of changing your beliefs around actually not only harnessing supernatural energy, but being able to perceive the supernatural real time. Mercury is in Virgo. So Mercury's presence in Virgo enables us to, if we didn't have Mercury in Virgo, these experiences will be happening around you and you'd feel it, but you wouldn't necessarily know how it's happening. Mercury's in Virgo. You're literally going to experience exactly how it's happening. You're feeling the vibe, seeing the synchronicity in 3D, and being able to harness the causality with which you facilitated the experience, manifested the experience, and also put yourself in a position to gain crucial insight into how much more to perfect and improve on it. So this is a part of the series of your evolution that's breaking you through more into supernatural cognizance, claircognizance, utilization of your clairs. And a huge facet of this, once again, breaking out of these old false narratives and social norms, is impacting with Uranus, Mars in the North Node, your self-esteem, because what's going to block many people is this myth, okay, that any of what's said about spirituality in this day and age is even true. Most of what blocks people's understanding of spirituality are the myths, rhetoric, and philosophy around it. 99.99% of what people say about spirituality is a complete myth. It's just philosophy. It's what people believe. It's not actually truth. Anything pertaining to spirit is breath. Even the fact that what I talk about is dumped into the spirituality box is just more, evidence that there's little knowledge to what it is we do and how important it is. You wouldn't call a meteorologist spiritual, so you shouldn't call a space meteorologist spiritual. It's just these quote-unquote scientists are cowards and afraid to actually accept the legitimacy of this one true science. So these are just certain aspects that are going to transform the way you perceive things in an effort to authentically express what they have always been, and not be afraid to admit that, anyone who doesn't have a uterus that you were born with is not a woman. Can you imagine that? We live in a day and age where some people are afraid to admit that only women can have periods and be born with a uterus. And that saying something like this is offensive. But if I were to say that I'm trans divine, you would laugh. Literally, you probably were holding back laughter or laughing. That's why I'm going to start this trans divine movement. Uh, we are the new trans, okay? We are the legitimate trans. There are people out here who are gods in human bodies, okay? We are trans divine. And, you know, given that this really helps you once again transform your perspective of how you actually represent and see things, all this is going to prepare accordingly for the new moon in Virgo. In 2 weeks, we're going to have the new moon in Virgo. So the moon in Pisces is going to adjust your beliefs. But its relationship with Leo integrates in your heart space more courage than ever as you uplift and also release illusions with the influence of Neptune that crystallize intuitive understandings you've always had. This is going to be very important. You're going to be guided during this moon in Pisces transit to make decisions or to facilitate certain experiences before you really have the evidence that this is legit or you should do it. And it's important because it'll test how much trust you have in the divine and how much trust you have in your own self and abilities. You've revealed and awakened certain stuff about you that may not make sense at all to most other people because they're not you. But it's true. So they still resonate with it. They just don't know why they resonate with it, bearing their ego, pride, prejudice, or whatever. So are you going to maintain your authenticity, square Uranus, sun square Uranus, in the face of you maybe looking weird? Or are you going to be a coward and just, be too scared to stand your ground and express what will come off as weird and non-linear? Once the moon goes into Aries, you're taking action based off that. And then in the light, it will make sense and manifest in the Taurus. But this is your opportunity to where you will be guided, moon in Pisces, to take this action, moon in Aries, before it makes sense to anyone else, because it should only make sense to you first since you're the one doing it. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So, the moon Neptune is a very divine and supernatural understanding of these dynamics that Jupiter and Aries will expand how you understand yourself in this equation. And once again, like, we're in a society that applauds being ignorant about stuff. So, like, think about how many people are seen as cool because they don't know wisdom like this. Fucking idiots. So, like, you're realizing how to navigate through this fog. You're also understanding the full-on integration of divine elements of experience, angels, high frequency beings, your higher self, soul aspects of yourself, and how to ground this practically with Mercury in Virgo. So your brain is coming into how to materialize and make sense of certain aspects. This is also, I think, one of the coolest things about this transit. Moon in Aries is cardinal. It's a soul power aspect. So we're going through soul power evolution like we've been doing during this Jupiter and Aries transit. This is going to be the functional activation and ascension of superpowers that you've been harnessing since the new moon. You're ascending it to its highest light to see the true potential of it before you manifest it in Taurus. That means this moon in Pisces, everything that's going to happen to facilitate those actions is unlocking, transforming, and breaking you through supernatural experiences so that the moon goes in Aries and you do this new superpower or this new super ability. Or this new superpower could just be stepping into a room with more confidence in yourself than you've ever had. And that's a superpower. Okay, so that means right now as you watch this, surrender the need to know, surrender to inaction. You're getting ready to be unfolded some very deep, occult, 8th house hidden mysteries that will make a lot of sense towards everything that you have been receiving synchronicities towards your entire life. Once we have the full moon in Pisces and Virgo, that's going to be the final revelation that will reveal the last piece of the puzzle. So this is like the second to last piece of the puzzle that serves as the last piece because you're going to figure it out anyway. And you just want to make sure you do not inhibit yourself by this vague myth and notion that you can be weird or too weird for anyone's perspective. Be too weird. Make sure you're at least being authentic. And, as Neptune will reveal a very grand secret and revelation about how to understand the highest divine element of your sacred heart, Godspeed, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to have you experience supernatural, phenomenon that breaks through your understanding of yourself. Peace.